Something happened this week that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. So, a friend asked me for a favor, and to be honest, we're not even that close, and I have an important test coming up. So, I remember thinking, I really don't have time for this. But somehow, that wasn't what came out. Instead, I said, yeah, of course. It happened so quickly, I don't think I even checked in with myself first. On my way home afterwards, I felt really frustrated. I kept thinking, seriously, why do I keep doing this? I've spent such a long time trying to understand why it's so hard for me to say no sometimes. That when I catch myself doing it again, it feels disappointing, almost like I've gone backwards. Later that evening, I was meditating as usual, and that question followed me there. Why am I like this? I must have repeated it to myself like 10 times. And about halfway through, something just clicked. I realized when I said, why am I like this? I wasn't asking a question. Instead, I was accusing myself. Like I'd already decided who I was. Like it was saying, here's another reason you're this kind of person. And that hits because I think I've been doing that for a long time. Whenever I make a mistake or fall back into an old habit, I quietly add it to the story I already have about myself. You're a people pleaser. You're bad at setting boundaries. Nothing's really changed. And looking back, I wasn't trying to understand myself at all. Instead, I was collecting evidence, building a case against myself. And the thing is, I don't think I'd ever do that to someone I care about. If a friend came to me and said, I said yes again when I wanted to say no, I wouldn't look at them and say, well, I guess that's just who you are. Instead, I would wonder what was going on. Were they tired? Were they scared of disappointing someone? Did they feel guilty? I would be curious. But somehow I never offer the same curiosity to myself. I just assume I already know who I am. And maybe that's what I've been getting wrong. Because even though I still struggle with saying no, and I'm not pretending I've completely changed, and I'll probably find myself in the exact same situation again. But I also know that I'm not the same person I was a few years ago, or even 6 months ago. I've learned new things. I've become more aware. I've been trying. And that deserves to be part of the story too. So lately, I've been trying one small experiment. Whenever I catch myself asking, why am I like this? I stop and I change the question. Instead, I ask, why did that happen? I know it's only a few different words, but it feels surprisingly different when you say that to yourself. Because the question, why am I like this, is not even a real question when you think about it. It's just trying to prove that there's something wrong with me. But the other question, why did that happen, is genuinely curious. And I've noticed that curiosity almost always leads somewhere kinda. Sometimes the answer is I was tired. Sometimes I was too scared of hurting other people's feelings. Or I was simply falling into an old habit that's going to take time to change. Now, none of those answers excuse what happened, but it helped me understand it a little better. And it's much easier to grow from something you understand rather than something you keep using as evidence against yourself, which really doesn't do you any good. Maybe that's what compassion is. Not pretending we don't have patterns or that we've healed everything. But just being willing to meet ourselves as we are today, instead of assuming we already know who we are because of who we used to be. I don't know if this way of thinking will help you, but it's been quietly changing something in me, especially when it comes to self compassion and being kinder to myself. So, if you've been carrying around this old opinion about yourself, maybe it's worth checking whether that's still true. You might discover that you've changed more than you realize. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. If that resonated, I would love to hear your experience in the comments. Reading your stories reminds me that none of us are figuring this out alone. And my hope is for this channel to one day become a space where people can reconnect with themselves and even with each other through the kind of honest human stuff that a lot of us don't say out loud anymore. If that's something you're looking for too, consider subscribing. As always, take care of your heart, be present, be kind, and I'll see you next week. Bye.